Greetings Grapple fans, Rory here, and you're watching the Piledriver Wrestling Daily Q&A, the 5th edition, brought to you by piledriverwrestling.net. Now, as it's a Sunday, we're going to deviate from the norm, and I'm going to be answering a non-wrestling question today. The question comes from the ask.fm page, ask.fm/Piledriver Wrestling Audio Show. And the question is, what are your favourite video games? Well, my earliest memories of gaming were with my Game Boy Color, and a large part of my childhood did go into the Pokemon franchise, my favourite game being Pokemon Gold. The game had great depth by allowing you to go to Johto and Kanto, and there were enough Pokemon in the game to make catching them all still seem like a possible achievement. My first home console was the PlayStation 2. The games that I got on launch were Gran Turismo 3, Tekken Tag Tournament, where I absolutely killed people with Hwoarang, and Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3. To this day I still consider these the pinnacle of racing, fighting and skateboarding video games. Growing up I was also a big fan of RPGs, my favourites being Shadow Heart's Covenant, and of course the truly epic Final Fantasy X. I still remember the huge sense of achievement that 12-year-old me had completing this game and finally defeating Sin. And now that I'm older, video games don't seem to do that much for me anymore. I still buy the annual FIFA release, and as a guitarist I've had some great fun playing Rocksmith, but other than that I just never seem to have the time for games. So, a slightly depressing way to close out the show with the loss of childhood, but actually, as it's a wrestling video series, we should probably at least talk a little bit about wrestling video games, so here are my top 5. Take it away. At number 5, SmackDown vs Raw 2006. It had a deep roster, it had a lot of match types, it had a good career mode and extra challenges. It was probably my favourite wrestling game of the last 10 years. In at 4, it's WWE SmackDown Here Comes the Pain. This is the wrestling game that I go to if I want to play a WWE game now. I still find this far deeper and more interesting than any of the more recent releases. In at number 3, it's Fire Pro Wrestling Returns. I'm glad that I didn't find this game until I was an adult, because childhood me would never have been able to appreciate the depth of controls and the depth of gameplay, and the creator wrestler is absolutely staggeringly amazing. In at 2, it's the N64 classic WWF No Mercy. I mean, there's nothing else I can say about this game that hasn't already been said. And in at number 1, swerved you, it's Total Extreme Wrestling. If you're a massive nerd like me, then Adam Ryland's Total Extreme Warfare series will probably need no introduction, but essentially, it's a giant wrestling game where you play the booker. The game is extremely deep, and, as it's mostly based on text boxes, is highly moddable. It's got a massively steep learning curve really, but it's one of those games that you truly get out what you put in. Well, that's today's show. If you want to send in any sort of question, wrestling or non-wrestling related, you can do so at the links above, and we may feature them on future episodes. Thanks for watching.